they texted us saying they were going to be moving on the 31st. And at that time, we followed up with a 3-day notice because at that time, we felt that possibly they weren't telling us the truth all month.
When did you give him that?
On the 24th, we gave it to him after he sent me the text that they were moving out.
You know, we were concerned that they were going to stay there and that we might need to start eviction
But if they
proceedings.
didn't pay the rent, they were to leave in 3 days.
We had hoped.
So I'm just struggling with the concept. If they had to quit pursuant to your order, would they have been responsible for the February rent?
If they had moved out, no. Well, they actually broke the lease, so they really still were responsible if we had decided to pursue the rent for that 2 years, or until at least we rented it on the 17th.
Could you have evicted them?
Well, the 3-day notice was going to be the start of that if they didn't move out.
You're asking for $4,000 from them, and that represents what?
Well, we had a water bill. They quit paying the water bill as of October 2022. In order for us to get it switched over to a new tenant, we had to pay it. So we had to pay $492. That was their water bill. They never shut it off.
What happened there, Mr. Simpson?
Well, Roger called me and told me, oh, you guys got a water bill. And I told him I would take care of it. So I called the water company and told them to transfer the bill over to me. And I
Did
think
you pay it?
We haven't paid it yet, but he took it up on himself to go ahead and pay it.
The oven cleaning, did y'all take any pictures? What was going on with the oven?
It was full of grease. At first, I thought I was going to have to replace it, but they went ahead and cleaned it. Our cleaner, she did an amazing job and
But
got
he
it
does
clean.
not have a picture.
I
He had
do
a
not.
picture
I
and he
apologize.
deleted it.
But what was the condition overall of the house?
The house was fine. I mean, just normal wear and tear for a year.
Okay.
So we're not charging for anything like that.
He did leave miscellaneous stuff that I had to haul away and pay for and this and that. But that's kind of stuff that you kind of deal with as a landlord.
Yeah.
You know, we also felt a little deceived with the IRS stuff because we did find out that they had purchased a new house in January.
You purchased a new house in January?
Yes.
How did you do that?
We had to do something. We have a family.
How did you buy a house and your accounts were frozen?
Through my VA, no money down.
I just wanted to point out there is an early termination provision that says in addition to all the things that you would be liable for at the end of a lease, if you terminate the lease early, you could be held responsible for lost rent, rental commissions, advertising expenses, painting costs, etc. And you are not suing for any of those, correct?
No.
No.
All right.
All right, we'll excuse you and we'll deliberate on the matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This courtroom is now in recess. We'll have you exit the courtroom.
So this isn't our typical landlord-tenant case, right?
Because they're all nice?
They're all nice, they're all cooperating. Usually you've got one side maybe taking advantage of the other. I found both sides to be credible. There was a couple questionable things on the part of the defendant, but overall, very good people who meant well, just an unforeseen circumstance that affected both parties. I'm inclined to give them what they're asking for in the amount of $4,085 because they were owed the rent for January. I don't think that we're disputing that. You raised a really good point, Michael, with the pay or quit. I don't think that applies here. I think that they were entitled, the plaintiffs, to a 30-day notice because if they actually did comply, the defendants, with this notice, they would have been out in 3 days, and they weren't. And given the fact that they could actually sue for more, I'm inclined to still give them February rent as well. And everything else, the water bill, they provide proof of. I believe them on the oven. They could have charged more on the garage door. I believe that was $200, so I'm inclined to give them the full amount.
They're asking for $300 for the totality of damages, which is exceedingly reasonable. I mean, $300 is not an over ask.
Yeah.
And what they're asking for represents them saying to the defendants, we are charging you for an additional 3 weeks of rent for breaking your lease. And they didn't charge any of the extras, the bonuses that they could have for advertising, for time spent to re-rent the premises, for repainting it. So I think under the circumstances, the request is reasonable. And I think they are entitled to the full amount.
I think it's the equitable thing to do. I don't think the defendants were contesting the February rent on the basis that I observed. I think they simply said that they thought they'd be more understanding and therefore wouldn't charge them for February. So I'm on board.
All right, so we have a verdict in favor of the plaintiffs for the full amount. All right.
Yes, we do.